Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing some Machine King test hands. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So I'm really excited to do the test hands of Machine King for you guys because Machine King is such an awesome old school boss monster to base a deck around. And it's a deck I've wanted to build for a very, very long time because Machine King is just such a cool card. I absolutely love it. And it's a card that I've wanted to play for a very long time and didn't really have a good way to play it until now. And this deck is just really fun to be able to use the Vernisylph monsters to bring out Machine King and even use all the other cards like the Infinitrack cards to help you make some insane boards. I'm really excited to show you guys the plays that this deck can pull off, but if you guys would like to check out the deck profile, as always, for every combo and test hand video, it is down in the description below if you guys would like to check that out. And this deck is just really fun to be able to play. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do because this deck is wild and really, really fun. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for our first test hand. So we're going to go ahead and draw. We're going to draw into a copy of Machine King right there. Okay. A copy of our Vernisylph Misting Seedlings, a copy of Brutal Dozer, a card that we always want to see, Urgent Schedule, and a copy of our Heavy Freight Train Daracrane. Daracrane's really good to be able to see in this opening hand because we can easily put it out on our side of the field. Now, our copy of Urgent Schedule is a little bit better to be able to use going second, but this is still a pretty good hand to be able to play into some insane plays because we have some really insane fields that we can actually make with this hand. So what we're going to do right off the bat is I'm going to go ahead and use my copy of Misting Seedling to be able to send to the graveyard with Machine King to be able to use its ability. And this card is great because it lets you add an Earth Fairy monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card. Then you can special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. So we're going to go ahead and add a copy of our Flourishing Hills from our deck to our hand, because that's going to give us an additional search as well, which is really nice. Now we're going to summon out our copy of Machine King to our side of the field with this card's ability, and that's just amazing that the first monster we summon is Machine King. That's so cool to be able to do. And now since we summoned out a machine monster to our side of the field, if an Earth Machine monster is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, except during the damage step, we can special summon out our copy of our Daracrane. Now we're going to use the effect of our Brutal Dozer to tribute our copy of our Daracrane to be able to summon it out to our side of the field. And once we do, we're going to use its ability to summon out our copy of Trencher. This card is really good to be able to put on our side of the field because now we can overlay both of these on the field right over here to be able to make a copy of our River Stormer. River Stormer is great to be able to make here because now we can just detach our copy of Trencher and add an Earth Machine from our deck to our hand, which we're going to add a copy of our Super Express Train, which is really good as an extender. Since we control an Earth Machine monster, we can actually use its ability. Now the cool thing is I will show you guys something really neat. With this hand, you can actually summon out both of them. If you add this to your hand, since it is an Earth Machine monster, you can just send these two and then summon out your copy of Perfect Machine King from the graveyard. But I'm trying to make a really good field, so we're not going to add this card to our hand because we want to establish a really good field. If I was going second, it wouldn't be too bad to be able to add this card because then you could summon it to your side of the field and get a really insane board. But now we're just going to add our copy of our Express Train for now. But I wanted to show you guys how easy it is in this build to summon it out, because you just send this and then summon it out to your side of the field, which is just super cool to be able to do. So now at this point, we're just going to instantly special summon out our copy of our Super Express Train because this card can special summon itself to your side of the field if you control an Earth Machine. Now we're going to go ahead and link away our copy of our River Stormer to be able to summon out a copy of Goliath. Now we're going to use the copy of River Stormer in the graveyard to be able to put it back on our side of the field by tributing our copy of Goliath and sending it to the graveyard. And now the copy of Goliath will attach itself. Then we'll go ahead and link away these cards again to summon out another copy of Goliath. The reason we're doing this is because we want to get monsters in the graveyard, so when we do summon out our copy of our Tunneler, we will be able to get it in the grave and draw 2 by recycling a bunch of cards that are going into the extra deck instead of cards that are going into the main deck, so we can draw more cards, because we want to recycle cards like our copy of Rear Stormer, both our Goliaths, and something like a copy of Brutal Dozer, or something like our copy of Darkrai to be able to get those plays to really roll. So we're going to go ahead and now link away our copy of our Super Express Train and our copy of our Goliath to be able to summon out a great card, our copy of Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista has a great ability to be able to add a copy of an Ancient Gear monster from our deck to our hand, so we're going to add a copy of Gearbox from our deck to our hand. Gearbox is really good to be able to add to our hand because it has a great ability that if this card is added to your hand, you can add a monster with 1500 or less, or not 1500, 500 or less attack or defense from your deck to your hand. That has exactly 500 attack, which is great to be able to add our copy of our Tunneler because it has exactly 500 defense, so you can search it. Now there's a couple of options that you can search out of the deck with your copy of Ancient Gearbox, like your copy of Trencher that's in the graveyard that has 500 attack. You can also search out another great card like a copy of Anchor Drill, which is great to be able to search if you haven't already normal summon, which is just really good to be able to search those cards from the deck to have a bunch of different options. It just has to have exactly 500, which your copy of Trencher also has 500 attack, so you can search any of the 3 of these, which is really, really neat. But we're going to add a copy of Tunneler from our deck to our hand because this card is great to be able to grab. Because now we can actually tribute our copy of our Ballista to be able to summon out our copy of Tunneler. Now we can use the ability in the graveyard of our copy of Trencher to be able to banish it from the grave to revive back our copy of Brutal Dozer, and we can link these cards away for a different card that we want to put on the field, a copy of our Double-Headed Anger Knuckler. This card is really good to be able to summon to our side of the field, because now we have Tunneler in the grave, and we also have a bunch of extra deck monsters that we can put back, and even a copy of Brutal Dozer that we can put back to shuffle back cards to be able to grab later, or you can leave the copy of Brutal Dozer in the graveyard to be able to grab it later with your copy of your Super Express Train, because this card has the ability during the end phase, if this card's in the grave because it was sent there this turn, you can target a machine monster in the grave and add it to your hand, so you can grab this later for full combo next turn again, which is really good. So we're going to go ahead and banish the copy of Tunneler here to be able to put back a bunch of cards into the deck and the extra deck, which is great. Just 1 card into the deck and 2 cards or 4 cards into the extra deck, which is going to let us draw 2 cards, which is great because sometimes you'll draw extenders to be able to just keep your plays really rolling, which is nice. We do have the copy of the Flourishing Hills in our hand, and we do have the copy of our Urgent Schedule as well. So we do have some plays that we can pull off. But we already got Machine King on the field because we've already established what we really wanted to do with this deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up. Maybe we can draw another Machine King. That would be pretty cool, because we could summon out a second one. So now we're going to draw 2 cards off the top of the deck, which is going to be Heavy Forward and a copy of Harvester. Harvester is great to be able to grab at this particular point because for follow-up play, this card is insane. So at this point, we're going to activate Heavy Forward to be able to add a copy of an Infinitrack monster from our deck to our hand, which we can add anything that we really want at this point. It doesn't super matter because we do have the copy of Flourishing Hills that's going to be able to bring out the copy of Harvester to be able to search out an additional card, so we have some really good plays in our hand. You may grab a copy of like Road Roller or something like that, so if a monster is tributed, you can bring out another card, which is pretty good to be able to do. Or you could add a copy of Anchor Drill, and Anchor Drill is actually going to get us even more plays in this particular hand, so let's grab Anchor Drill from our deck. So that's the cool thing about Earth Machine and playing decks like this, is you kind of got to look at the deck and go, wait a minute, and you guys might see something that's completely different than me, which is really nice. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and use Flourishing Hills with the copy of Anchor Drill to be able to send these cards to the graveyard, and Flourishing Hills is actually going to go off to be able to actually add a copy of an Earth monster, or a copy of a Vernisylph monster from our deck to our hand, which is great to be able to add a Vernisylph from our deck to our hand, because we have 1 name left that we can grab, which is going to be our copy of Awakening Forest. In this build, I only play a couple of different names, 3 different names, to go through the basic cycle that we have in the deck. Now at this point, we do get to bring back our copy of our Anchor Drill to our side of the field, which is great to be able to bring it back to the field, because it just gets that monster on the the field, so we can use its ability that if it's normal or special summon, we can actually take an Earth Machine monster from our deck in defense position and just special summon it from our hand, which is great to be able to summon out something like a copy of Harvester, because Harvester will give us an additional search, or you can, if you want to, summon out your copy of Gearbox, because we can actually make a play with the Gearbox, which is really nice. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to use the effect of our Anchor Drill to make both of these level 10, to be able to just increase this card's level by 6, and increase our copy of Machine King's level by 4, making them both level 10. Now you could here, if you wanted to, you could use these cards to be able to make an 8 if you wanted to, or you could make them a 10 because I have the copy of Anger Knuckle on the field that has the ability during the main phase, quick effect, send a monster from my hand or field to the graveyard, and then target a level 10 machine monster in the grave and special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated. So we're going to go ahead and send Ancient Gearbox to the graveyard, and then summon back our copy of our Super Express Train. Now both of these are level 10, so I'm going to go ahead and overlay both of these on my side of the field to be able to make a copy of our Super Dora. The reason we make Super Dora here and not Gustav Max is because this card is a much more defensive card opposed to the other cards that we have in this build. Now at this point you could keep pushing and extending your plays by going ahead and sending these to the graveyard and then getting more cards on your side of the field, but you can just stop at this particular point if you want to be able to establish more later to OTK. So we're going to go ahead and set the copy of the Urgent Schedule and pass over to the opponent, getting the copy of our Harvester for follow-up play, because this card is basically one card combo for the entire deck, and you basically have this really good feel where you have the copy of the double-headed Anger Knuckle, you have the copy of the Super Dora to give you protection, plus it has 4k defense points, and you have your copy of Machine King that's gaining 1 to 300 attack to go to 2500, which gives you a Machine King on the field, which is insane. We also have the ability of Urgent Schedule that if your opponent controls more monsters than we do, we can special summon a level 4 and a level 5 machine monster from our deck to our side of the field in defense position, a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher, to be able to, but they cannot declare an attack or activate the effects of machine or anything except machine monsters, which is really good because this card can actually summon out Perfect Machine King, which is insane. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just set this card back to our side of the field because we're just setting it on our field, pass over to the opponent, let them do whatever they want to do, and once they do that, we're going to go ahead and use the ability of our Super Dora as well. We can use Super Dora during our turn, and then during the end phase of our turn, we do get the ability to add back our copy of our Brutal Dozer, which is great for more follow-up. If we don't, we just go ahead and add it later with the ability, but you do have the ability with the Harvester to search out another copy of Brutal Dozer to go full combo again, which is insane. Now we draw for the next turn, and we're going to draw on a Clockwork Knight, which is really good because now everything's a machine. He's going up by an additional 500 attack points, dropping our opponent's monsters down by 500 attack points, and we can do this. We can also make a copy of Juggernaut Leave to be able to OTK our opponent with all of our cards, which is just really good to be able to just swing in for game. And you have follow-up protection, you have follow-up here, you have follow-up here, you have follow-up here. You just have so many plays that you can pull off with this particular field. And it's very easy with your copy of Flourishing, or your copy of Awakening Forest to keep going with this particular combo, which is insane. So let's go ahead and go into the next combo and see what we can do. Hopefully we can summon out our copy of Perfect Machine King as well, which we could actually have summoned it before, but we decided to go for our better field, which is something that's really important as you're playing a deck like this. Even though it's focused around summoning out Machine King to your side of the field, as quickly as possible, you want to make sure that you establish a field and don't just summon out 3 copies of Machine King to your side of the field and hope for the best. You want to make sure that you establish a really good field that your opponent is not going to be able to play through as easily. With cards like Super Dora, that's just huge and can make itself unaffected, it's really hard for your opponent to deal with that card, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for our next test hand. Hopefully we can draw another copy of Machine King and get it out on our side of the field as quickly as possible. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do. We're going to go ahead and draw. We're going to draw a copy of Machine King, okay. Clockwork Knight, a copy of Misting Seedlings, again, a copy of Anchor Drill, and a copy of our Flourishing Hills. This is actually really insane. This is really good. We're not going to get crazy board, but we're going to get pretty good. So what we're going to do right off the bat is we're going to go ahead and use our copy of our Anchor Drill. You don't even have to use these Vernisylph cards to be able to summon out to your side of the field. You can just summon out the copy of Anchor Drill if you want to, or you can turn them into machines to be able to make a rank 4 play. So let's do that. This is going to be a little bit of a weird hand. This is kind of awkward of a hand, but you can turn everything into a machine with your copy of Clockwork Knight, which kind of fixes it, which is why I play this in the deck. Plus it was played by the guy that played Perfect Machine King, so I was like, it perfectly fits in this deck. We got to play Clockwork Knight. So what we're going to do right off the bat is we're going to go ahead and use the ability of our Flourishing Hill, send this card to the graveyard, and then we're going to go ahead and add from our deck to our hand our copy of Awakening Forest. Now once we do that, we're just going to summon back our copy of our Anchor Drill and bring out our copy of our Machine King. Now we have not normal summoned yet this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and normal summon out the copy of the Awakening Forest, and since now everything's a machine, I can actually overlay these two on my side of the field because everything's a machine, and we can actually make a copy of our, let's see, where is it? Our copy of Giganta X. Giganta X is great to be able to make here. You can make other plays if you want to, but I really like making the Giganta X here. You could make Super Dora using these two again, but now we can use the ability to be able to detach our copy of our Anchor Drill off this card, and then we're going to go ahead and add a level 4 or lower machine from our deck to our hand. So now we're going to grab a copy of Harvester, and once we grab Harvester, we can use the Misting Seedling to be able to discard, and then add a copy of a Vernisylph from our deck to our hand, which I'm just going to add another copy of the Flourishing Hills to be able to use for later. We've already used it this turn, but we're going to go ahead and add it to hand. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring back our copy of Harvester. Harvester is going to go off, and we're going to use its ability to be able to grab Brutal Dozer, and we're kind of going to go into the same combo that we did before where we tribute it and then summon out a copy of our Trencher to our side of the field. Now once we summon out that copy of Trench to our side of the field, we're going to overlay both of these, make a copy of our River Stormer, detach the copy of the Trench to be able to add from our deck to our hand a level or any machine monster that we want. So we're going to add a copy of our Super Express Train here. We're then going to go ahead and special it out to our side of the field, link this away, and once we link this away, we're going to make a copy of Goliath, tribute the copy of Goliath to be able to bring back our copy of Riverstorm, be able to overlay it with a copy of Goliath, link it away again for a copy of a Goliath to be able to get an additional monster, and then we're going to go ahead and link these away to be able to get a copy of Ballista on our side of the field, which is going to search out that copy of the Ancient Gearbox, which is right there, perfect, and then add a copy of Tunnel to our hand as well because we get the copy of Ancient Gearbox, and then we get a monster with 500 attack or 500 defense, either or, and now we have the copy of Tunnel in the hand, so we can just tribute off our copy of Giganta X, special summon it to our side of the field, and then link both of these away for a copy of our Double-Headed Anger Knuckle, which is really good. Again, we kind of established the same board, but a little bit cooler in the way that we did it because it was a weird hand. Now we're going to go ahead and use the effect of our Tunnel to be able to banish it, to be able to put back all of these cards back into our extra deck and our main deck, or back into the extra deck. And then once we do, we're going to go ahead and be able to draw 2 cards. We want to recycle all those extra deck cards so we can use them later, which is really good. We want to go ahead and shuffle up the deck to make sure we get it good and shuffled so we get some really good draws. Hopefully we get something really good for this. We're going to go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we get. We're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to draw into a copy of Machine King and Urgent Schedule. That's pretty neat that we got another Machine King. I can't summon it, but it's still pretty cool. Also, during the end phase, we have some really cool effects like the copy of the Super Express Train, which is great to be able to use because we can grab back that copy of Harvester to go again for the full combo again, which is really nice to be able to do. And now you kind of just end with this. You can also set your copy of Urgent Schedule to your side of the field. And then during end phase, we're going to grab back our copy of our Harvester. And now we're just going to pass on that. You can use the copy of the Anger to be able to bring back your copy of your Bullet to your side of the field, which is an option for you guys if you want to bring back that Super Express Train. But we don't really have anything we want to link summon into, so you can kind of just leave it in the grave. That's going to do it for this one, guys. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Machine King before, this deck is really fun to be able to play. There's so many different combos with this deck, and it's just a really fun deck overall to play, to be able to just summon out some insane cards. That first hand was insane, and it's just a really cool deck overall. So, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can come part of Notification Squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.